What's up, everybody? Brian here with another episode of Fishing Control. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your first visit. We are out here on Tybee today to try something a little special, and we're gonna have to do it a little special because I forgot the clip that makes my camera attached to my chest mount. So we're gonna like leave the camera sitting on my bait tray pointing at me fishing today and see what we can put together. But I think we'll be able to get some shots and put something together. I'm gonna get a couple of rods rigged up and we're gonna talk to you about, and then I'll talk to you about what we're doing today. It's some pretty special budget surf fishing. So yeah, let's get to it. So the other thing we're doing is we're gonna make our leaders out of old bits. I've got some fresh hooks, but like there's swivels and beads and floats on these that we can totally use to make our leaders. These are some leaders Caleb used last time he was down here. So he just left them with me. I'm gonna whack them up. We're gonna use some of the components to put our leaders together. All right, so I've got the first rig tied up. It's just a single drop, like a whiting pomp hybrid style. I cut one of these little floats in half because I just wanted chartreuse. I'm gonna put a bead on it because why not? And I've got it on a 3-ounce pyramid sinker, 20-pound fluoro, single drop with a swivel at the top. This is all recycled hardware, tackle, terminal tackle, whatever you want to call it. And I'll show you today's super special bait that we're trying. It was literally the cheapest bait I could find. This fully cooked salad shrimp, peeled with the tail off at Food Lion, was $1.99. So if this works, maybe this is the hack. You know, what's the worst that could happen? I don't catch. So let's see here, I gotta figure out some ways to set you guys up so you can actually see stuff. I'm gonna use a hook to prop it all up a little bit. Alright, why not? That might work. So these look pretty rough, little tiny shrimps, but I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be able to get some kind of bite off this. And I've got Fishbites with me. And you know, really what we want to try and do is catch a little whiting or something and use him for cut bait. So if we can get something going, that's all we need. A couple bucks worth of shrimp to get something going, right? This first rod I am putting out with just this stuff on it though. And I mean, maybe I just start off with a whole one threaded on the hook like this. Let's see here if I can get this where y'all can see me do it. So yeah, I'm just gonna thread them on the hook like I would proper shrimp. This one's, like I said, this first one's getting just some of the shrimp. Next one's gonna get some of the shrimp and some fish bites. All right, guys, it's been about 10 minutes. No bite on that first one yet. We're gonna get a second one out. This is a double drop Pompano rig, swivel at the top, 20-pound fluorocarbon. Used a Palomar knot, by the way, to attach both the leader to the main line and the leader line to the swivel. Then down here we've got a chartreuse and orange beat up float with a 2-aught circle to C hook, sand flea fish bites, and some of that cocktail shrimp or whatever the heck it is, salad shrimp. I'm not even sure what salad shrimp is. Then another different kind of chartreuse and orange float with the same bait and hook down to a snap swivel with a 4-ounce Sputnik sinker. And now we're gonna go put the rod holder out over there and put this one out as well. There's a fish on that. Well, there's a whiting. There's a whiting in the cooler. He's not huge, but a few of these will make lunch for me and the wife. So let's get some bait back out there. Even though these shrimp are small, I'm totally cutting them in half still. I don't know how well y'all can see that, but Well, it's a sail cat. Nobody wants that, but that's what I got. That one, probably full of babies, which sucks. No more of these. This is on just those shrimp. Might be a catfish, but it's a fish. It was a puffer. He came off right there at the beach. So we're gonna get another little piece out and see what happens. Dang it, man. That was on just the shrimp. There we go, another little stealer of bait, some small sharks. Definitely abundant out here. It's a stingray. Of course it is. Nobody ever invites Ray. He always shows up. Morning. Yeah. You too. Might be something on the closer on too. There we go, little stingray. Bar rod. Okay guys, it's not a keeper, but that's super legit. That is a weak fish. It's small, but that's a weak fish. And on $2 shrimp, so much like other shrimp, this stuff seems to have a really hard time staying on the hook. So I do recommend using Fishbites with it. Okay guys, that is the smallest sea robin I think I've ever caught. These guys, I'm sure you can see them, have little spines around their gill plates, dorsal fin, all that stuff. So you definitely want to be careful with them. We're gonna get this fellow a nice little release here. Get this dude his release here. That's a little fish. There he goes. A little bit bigger whiting, so that's 2 in the cooler. That means we can at least have fish and grits. If I get one more, then we can just fry fish. All right, guys, I've still got rods out. They could be getting hit, and I'm not looking at them. That's probably gonna do it. We've had a great morning out here. I am super stoked that I was able to put together a day on those shrimp. I may do that again a couple times, you know, start out with those cheap shrimp. And I looked. And see if we can put some fish on the beach, cut them up, use them as bait, that whole circle of life type thing. You know, if it only costs $2 to get in the game, that's way cheaper and way easier than trying to go find fresh, unfrozen shrimp like I've been doing. You know, that is the better bait, obviously, but if this does it, that's very affordable. So we'll be doing that again. As always, I really appreciate y'all watching, especially all the new subscribers that have joined recently, the longtime subscribers. Y'all all matter. I appreciate every single one of y'all for tuning in and watching these adventures that I go on. I really just want to help people feel like they can do this. Make people feel like fishing is approachable, no matter what your skill level is. This is not hard stuff here. You know, you can make it hard or you can make it real easy. You know, there's some really basic approaches to this that will put fish on the beach for even the most novice beginner, you know. So thanks for watching this episode of Fishing Control, and we'll see you on the next trip.